Hello. This is going to be a bit of a link fest because I've got so many tabs open, I just don't know what to do with them, and there's so much good stuff, but I just can't make 1 hour long videos because I don't think you'd watch them. So just let me tell you that I'm getting the vibes out there. How many people do I follow? I don't know, about 40 or 50 in various ways. And there's a kind of a gallows humour running round today. The sort of thing where everyone gets a bit funny and jokey because everything is so damn bad. That's the sort of thing that's happening out there. Okay, so I'll just whiz through some of these. There's one or two that I will read something from, but generally these are just links. Okay. Reuters, US misery index rises to its highest since 1983. Doesn't need much explanation, does it? Reuters, first look at US pay data. It's awful. This is such a good thing to read, but I doubt if you'll read it. But if you're American and want to know who is to blame, Washington or Wall Street, it's interesting, an article, because there's been a poll. Conservatives blame Washington while the Liberals blame Wall Street. See, it doesn't seem to matter who's right. It's just the people are just so set in their ways and go with their their political views just come out. No interest in what's actually happening, what the truth of the matter might be. None at all, seemingly. Christian Science monitor a long, steep drop for American standard of living. I mean, it's nothing we don't know, but this is just so repetitive, and the articles are actually getting to the meat of things now. New Economic Perspectives by William K. Black, who we all know about. So this gets to be a really quite surprising headline, and read the article. Not with a bang but a whimper, Bank of America's death rattle. And that's definitely the vibes on the street. Credit write-downs. Edward Harrison, a year later everyone is catching on about the Fed policy and net interest margins. I think it was one of the first tweets I made. But I mean, this Operation Twist thing that everyone seemed to go, oh, it's just a waste of time. It just rang bells to me, probably because I read Edward Harrison. Well, how are the banks going to make money out of this? You know, the long end, the yield curve is being crushed. How they borrow short and lend long, but they don't get any interest rate coming back for lending long. It's a disaster. Wall Street Journal, I mean, I would have, 86%, obviously America, 86% of workers are obese or have other health issues. And these aren't, I've just got a cold or something. These are serious health issues. 86%. What are you like? Reuters, Africa, this came in, but if you read the article, it's quite serious. WTO alerts the G20 on trade finance, and there are worries there that I can't even go into what the worries are. But the whole economic system is twisting itself into contortions that it just isn't used to being in, and it's very painful. Angry Bear. Now, this kind of I was going to do a whole thing on it. What is nominal GDP targeting? Because if you want to talk to the economists out there in blogland, you've got to know what nominal GDP is and who might be thinking of targeting and there's a whole huge argument going on out there about this. But if you don't know that, you don't need to know what nominal GDP targeting is. This article by Mish, Blatant Arrogance of France. I was going to read the whole thing one time this morning when I read it because I thought it was such a sensational article. But no, all you get's the headline, Blatant Arrogance from France. FT, Europe needs the ECB to step up to the plate, by Paul de Grau, or de Grau, who I've quoted a couple of times before. I like the fella. He's obviously got brains and he's got compassion. But Europe needs the ECB to step up to the plate. The central bank is the only institution that can solve this by printing up huge quantities of money. nothing we don't know. But I'll just read three comments actually from the article. Read the article, but the comments. Professor de Gaulle, his comments are exactly right, as he has been consistently through the crisis. The absolute first priority has to be to avoid another systemic financial crisis. It's coming, kids. And the only thing that can avoid it is the ECB. Only the ECB can act quickly enough in a capacity of lender of last resort to take the measures required. Yes, the ECB itself knows this, despite what it says, and so do all the EU governments. Yes, it could create moral hazard. It would. Big style. But that has to be dealt with separately. It's not a reason for doing nothing. Do you get the idea of the panic? I hope so. But Super Fritz, who gave us the people in the car and pulling on the handbrake yesterday, the ECB has no excuse to act? Question mark. You mean other than the law and the opinion of the greatest sponsors, government and population? In other words, you know, they've got no excuse to act. They can't act. They're not. It's not within the law that they can act at the moment because of the parameters, the way the ECB was set up. And to change those parameters, the greatest sponsor of the ECB, the Germans, the German government and people, don't want them changed. They don't want the ECB to start printing up huge quantities of money and giving it out. You know, that's their excuse. It's a damn good excuse. Ismail underneath this goes, unfortunately, Germans do not understand how financial capitalism works and force upon Europe the same mistakes that were done pre-1933 when the economic depression was worsened by austerity measures leading to the rise of Adolf Hitler. Unfortunately, totally correct. Chris Giles kicks it well. Rest of the world not immune to Eurozone ills. You better believe it. The Eurozone goes pop, everyone goes pop. Capital Markets, Tracy Alloway, who's been knocking it out of the park lately. Bank collateral drying up in a rush for security. Okay, I'll just read this. I wasn't going to, but I'll give you an idea. You've heard of Dexia. Just 3 months ago, Dexia announced it had €88 billion of quality assets on its balance sheet, with the European Central Bank offering funding for the region's troubled financials against such collateral. This sum should have been enough to stave off disaster at the Franco-Belgian Bank. Except for one problem. Less than a quarter of that 88 billion was actually free to be used as ECB collateral. But nobody seemed to notice. So the bank's gone foot. And it won't be the last. UK, I just brought this out because this is the sort of thing that will happen when you don't spend money. Solar panel subsidy to be slashed in the UK. This is Cantus, who's a blogger out of Germany, so via him I get quite a lot of German opinion because he, 1 out of every 3 blogs he does in English. And I've highlighted this in yellow, and it's our last link. In my view, I won't do the accent. In my view, the problems have to get much worse, Greek style, so that the peripheral governments can push through the reforms that are needed. This is even imagining that we can get that far. Blaming Germany, the ECB, the IMF, or whoever will be a common theme during this time of reform and hardship. Again, if we ever get there. Thereby worsening the relationship between the people of Europe. Further, and showing once more what a tragic, devastating and silly idea the euro really was. God, this is depressing. Bye.